3, 2, 1. We're going. Hello there. This is Gary Peter Carlson and John of the Light. And we're doing video 17 of our series. We're going to do part 2 on my God, Matter, and Life page on my website, icheckyoursoul.com. And I hope you go there and look at some of my work. The main goal of all these videos is to expose the people ruling us of having human bodies and reptilian souls. Take it away, John.
Really good. I'm John of the Light. We have already begun talking about your God, Matter, and Life page on your website, the icheckyoursoul.com. So I guess you could call this a part 2. And we got through quite a bit of information, including first, second, and third density in the last video. So I'm not sure where you want to start today, but if you want to start out briefly talking about how we on Earth are completing our third cycle, what a third cycle is, and why it's called a great year, how we're almost done with our third cycle. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes. Well, first of all, let me say that the universe is ruled in galaxy groups, and each group has one or more galaxies together for a ruling group, and our group has 9 galaxies. Some of them are called the Milky Way, the Large Magellanic Cloud, the Small Magellanic Cloud, and a Sagittarius galaxy. That's what we're in, and we're passing through the Milky Way. There's 9 galaxies altogether, and that have certain rules and that are consistent in there. And one of them is the cycle, or the great year. And in our group, you can see it goes from, it can be as short as 22,000 years or as long as 28,000 years. And you go through a cycle, and then in third density, a window opens up for ascension. If you've completed the cycle, and star seeds can come to your third density planet to take advantage of the window opening up if they weren't able to make ascension out of cycle on their planet. So basically every planet in this nine galaxy group has a great year. That's catered to ascension. You know, you got to complete the cycle to do third or fourth density.
Would you say the reason that we are about to have ascension events, of which you are saying that there are 2 different ascension events, the reason we're about to have ascension events is because we're completing our third cycle on Earth, which is our solar system's great year?
That's right. Yeah, after a soul group that has empathy completes the third cycle, I think there's some other rules with it. They have to have a population of close to 2 billion. It could be more than one group in the solar system. And then they can go to fourth density, which is like a deluxe third density. And then the groups that don't have empathy can't go in that density, so they're not, nobody's trying to take them over like third density is. Third density, the reptilians are always trying to take over the groups that have empathy in a lot of cases. But if you make it to fourth density, you don't have them anymore. And 75% of the groups that have empathy are in fourth density, and 25% are in third density. We're in third density, qualifying and getting ready to go to fourth density. But they decided to do something special with our group, that part of us are going to go to another third density planet, but we covered that in other videos. Okay, that's about it for the great year. Let me go into these. There's two ethers that surround us that are kind of represent God. And one ether called the source field, coined by David Wilcox. He called it the source field. And the Russians discovered this ether, and they called it torsion energy. And they created experiments you could do to prove its existence. Anyway, I found out that there's a second ether that's different and unique, and it also surrounds us, and it's invisible, but it's around all universes and all voids, and I call it the God consciousness, and it does a lot of things, but some of the important things that I discovered in it is it causes 7 signals and 4 forces that we use in our life. And these 7 signals are DNA, artificial intelligence, time, light, sound, emotions, and consciousness. And these are helpful in sharing our reality, and obviously more than one of these signals are used together. And then there's 4 forces that kind of control our reality, and they are gravity, and then in the atoms and molecules, there's a strong force, and there's that holds the nucleus together, and there's a weak force that holds the electrons orbiting the nucleus. And then there's a 4th force, is called expansion. It causes all the galaxies in the universe to expand and keep getting bigger as the universe gets older toward its 22 billion year the universe lasts. I don't know if it comes back together at the end. I'm not sure, but we're still expanding in our universe.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So you said that there's 2 ethers, the source field and the God consciousness. You said that these 2 ethers essentially produce 7 signals and 4 forces. What I found,
ether does, the God consciousness does that on those
so
7 signals and
okay.
4. They're
the
not
God consciousness.
right. The other ether is compressed to make our souls, and it can be used for communication.
Yeah.
And I think you can get the 0 point energy out of it, and maybe off either one of them you could get this free energy if you have the right technology.
So the God consciousness produces 7 signals and 4 forces. Among the forces you listed, what I didn't see is magnetism. Why do you think you did not determine magnetism as the name of one of the 4 forces? I asked the question with a lot of background knowledge that planets and pretty much everything behave like magnets. And I thought magnetism was one of the obvious forces in the universe. Now, maybe it's simply not a force of the God consciousness. I don't know.
Maybe I might have missed that. I might be making an error. Are these 4 forces contain magnetism? No. So, is magnetism, I'm asking the pendulum, magnetism should be included. That's what you were telling me when I might have missed something. All right, we'll make it 7 signals and 5 forces and include magnetism as a force. I guess
I wasn't trying to correct you. I hope you
constantly
understand that.
updating my information. I guess magnetism needs to be added as a force there. I thought it was kind of contained in the gravity
Well,
or whatever,
yeah.
but it's not. I guess it's different.
Well, so you said the 4 forces are gravity, a strong force, a weak force, both in holding matter together, and expansion. I was thinking maybe the strong force and the weak force might have been magnetism. What you're now saying is maybe magnetism is a 5th.
Yeah, it should probably be 7 signals and 5 forces.
Okay, let's move on. We've already talked about densities, the first, second, and the third. Obviously, you know,
We
it
talked
should
about
be,
the fourth some too.
well, we should obviously mention that, again, that we are currently in a 3rd density solar system on a 3rd density planet. As you said, we're about to experience the end of a great year, the completion of a 3rd cycle of Earth. And so we are about to transition out of 3rd density. There's 2 kinds of these ascensions. Do you want to just quickly review the 2 kinds of ascensions?
Okay, the individual ascension is for the people that completed their cycle, which includes star seeds, and they go to the 5th density. And then the planetary ascension on Earth is going to be the people that completed 75% of their cycle or more are going to go to 4th density. And in this unique case, they're creating the people that did less of their cycle are going to be moved to another planet. And this is supposed to be like 8 to 11 years away from now on going to this other planet. We'll probably get more information on that later.
Right. Something that you've mentioned over and over again in every video is the point of a lot of our videos is to try to wake people up, to try to teach truth around the occupation, if you will, of our planet. The fact that humanity, our human race, has been taken over and infiltrated by races of reptilian extraterrestrials through advanced high technology. The reason I mention this again now is that reptilians are also 3rd density beings in our 3rd density world that we're in now. You've actually mentioned that reptilians would not be able to ascend in either ascension. They would not be able to escape through ascension.
They can make the ascension to 5th density, but the reptilians that are incarnated in human bodies are only very young reptilians that are 5 or 10% done with their cycle.
Okay.
But they have their own cycle on their own planet, and they make ascension positively and negatively to the fifth density, the same as we do.
That's good to mention. So there will be reptilians, some percentage of reptilians that make ascension through individual ascension to fifth density, either extremely positive or extremely evil.
Right, right. And their cycle's different than ours. So their cycle's not ending like ours is. They're from a different planet. Their cycle's on not starting. This doesn't end the same as ours. It's a different time. And none of the reptilians that are ready to make individual ascension are here. They didn't come to try to take over us.
Okay.
Those reptilians are different. Okay, and then fourth density. Okay, first of all, third density has 2 dimensions, 3 and 4. Planets that have beings without empathy are generally in the third dimension, and planets that have beings with empathy are generally in the fourth dimension. So Earth is in the fourth dimension, and it's been that way for like over 1 million years, I'm told. Even though you hear other researchers say we're in the third dimension, I'm pretty sure we're in the fourth dimension. Length, height, and width, and a component of consciousness. And fourth density has 6 dimensions: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can go up these first 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 pretty fast. I thought you had to go up every cycle, but you can go up in 1,000 years or something like that. You can advance a dimension. So the people that go to fourth density will probably get up to the 8th dimension within like 5 or 10,000 years. I'm not sure, but they'll get out of the fifth dimension pretty fast. Fifth dimension is a component of time, and I think the 6th dimension is another component of consciousness. And some of the dimensions could be energy. I'm not sure what they are. Okay, and then fifth density, that's in the 11th through 14th dimensions. It has 11, 12, 13, and 14th dimensions. It's in our fifth densities in the 12th dimension. And fifth density lasts for 1 cycle. And then you advance to 6th density. And when you're 3/4 of a cycle into 5th density, if you're in the top 8 and 10,000, you're asked if you want to be a wanderer and come back and help third density planets for 1.42 cycles, which is around 35,000 years. I'm one of those. John came out of the 6th density. Very few wanderers come out of the 5th, only 0.8%. I guess 8 out of 1,000 of the wanderers are from the 5th, and 992 out of 1,000 wanderers are from the 6th dimension. Okay, then let's go into the 6th dimension. 6th dimension lasts.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Comment. Yeah. Sure.
All right. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of viewers. And so if you have anyone viewing this video, they probably have a number of questions about fourth density. I'm sure they have questions about fifth density. One question that comes up that is hard to get your head around unless you're Gary Peter Carlson is, so most people in third density, when they make ascension, when they complete their cycle and they've learned all their karmic lessons and They're ready to ascend most from third density, right? People go from third density to fifth density. You've explained that.
Right.
So
Or,
how do
or
people,
from fourth to fifth.
yeah, how do people from third density or anybody, how does anybody get to fourth density? Because I'm sure people are going to say, if you go from third to fifth, how do people get to fourth?
You have to go. You have to go through this planetary ascension. Most beings are born in fourth density. I guess is what happens is they live on a third density planet, and after they do pretty good, they have they change their planet and have them start incarnating on a fourth density planet. So yeah, there's a lot of souls that they incarnate on third density planets for a while, and after they get about 75% done and they're doing real good there, they change their planet to a planet that's in the fourth density, and they finish their cycle on a new planet.
So most of us, not you and I, not wanderers, but humanity, in those in cycle and star seeds, they're about to ascend to fifth density, and then those people in humanity that have completed maybe greater than 75% of their cycle, they might actually go to fourth density.
Right.
Okay. And then the majority of humanity that has not completed much of their cycle in third, they're going to likely go to another planet in third.
Right. How it usually works is the planet, after 3 cycles, goes to fourth density, and everybody that's living there goes. And some of the people that have negative souls, where they have like 120 soul score, they feel absolutely horrible, like they're going to die, and ETs take them back immediately to a third density planet. And other young and immature souls that haven't had very many lives, they live out their life there on that planet, and then they start incarnating again on third density planets, and until their soul gets more training and knowledge, and then they're sent back to Earth to finish their cycle.
So when you complete your third density, your cycle in third density, you go to fifth density. You've often said that fifth density life is like 100 times better in realm 3. Do you want to describe why you've said that?
Okay, I've been told that, and the main reason is there's no sorrow and misery. You don't have all these setbacks and excitements and killings and people getting beat up and hurt, and then going bankrupt and not being able to pay the bills and not having a place to live, and all the crap that happens to you in third density. You don't have that. You get a body that doesn't have any openings, so you don't have to eat, drink, or talk. You communicate by telepathy, and every once in a while you go to an area that has crystals and you recharge your body a little bit. And there's no weather, and there's no liquids or gases, so you don't have to breathe. And you basically just walk around or float around, teleport to different areas on your planet, and just communicate with people. And I'm sure they got other things to do and stuff, but basically it's a consistent life that's real easy, and there's not much to go wrong, and very little fighting or violence or anything like that. They have some, but it's rare.
So let me ask another question. You said that if you're in third density and you're negative and you have no empathy for others and you're extremely evil or polarized positive and you have no empathy, you can make ascension to fifth density. So in fifth density, you have a lot of beings with no empathy for others, either extremely evil or polarized positive.
Yeah, they have negative planets, and you can make ascension if you're 5% positive and 95% negative. You can make ascension negatively, and if you're 50% or more positive, you can make ascension positively. Now, if you make it negatively, you go in a group of negatives, and there's a pecking order, and there's somebody above you hassling you, telling you what to do. And it's like a horrible life of a negative, and you're constantly doing bad things to other people and harassing
For lack
people,
of a
trying to
better,
cause them problems.
for lack of a better phrase, they segregate the negatives on different planets.
Yeah, yeah. If you go negative, you're isolated, and you're just with a group of other people that are negatives, and that's what would be hell. In other words, if there's no such thing as a real hell, but that would be it if there was one.
Right,
And
so to clarify,
you can turn positive if you're in there and try
right,
to turn positive, but you're like, when you try to make that change, you'll have everybody there on your ass, hassling you.
right.
Yeah, causing you all sorts of problems to try to stop you from going positive. It's, you'll have a tough time changing to
All right.
positive.
So to clarify, in third density, everyone's mixed together. In fourth density, it's really just positives. In fifth density, you can ascend regardless of, whether you're positive or negative. As long as you complete your cycle, you have to be really negative or really positive, right? But in fifth density, they put the negatives all together separately and they put the positives together.
Right. And then you can go through the whole fifth density as a negative and ascend to sixth density as a negative. And you can go through sixth density as a negative and ascend to seventh density as a negative.
Right.
But in seventh density, you can't ascend to eighth density as a negative. You're forced to turn positive. And seventh density lasts for 2 cycles normally, but you can stay there as long as 8 cycles if you're a negative trying to turn positive. If you don't turn positive and go to 8th density, by the 8th cycle, they recycle your soul back into the ether. And you're like a non-person or a non-being after that.
Well, it really puts into perspective how difficult third density is, which is the world we live in now of suffering and trauma and karma. There's so much going on, like on planet Earth. It makes sense because we're all jumbled together in a big soup of souls of every kind.
Yeah, they have it all. And when you're in third density here, those negatives in fifth density and higher, they're hanging around invisibly, and they're doing stuff to you to make things happen that you don't like.
So in
Your-
fifth
when your
density,
car
it's
breaks
one
down,
cycle.
yeah, when your car breaks down, it could be caused by a negative.
So in fifth density, it's just one cycle. And as soon as you complete your cycle and learn the lessons required, you move on. When you qualify, you move on to sixth.
Right. And if
And
you got to be polarized positive or negative.
okay. And then sixth is one cycle.
And sixth is it's one cycle to 1.6 cycles, depending on if you got in fifth density on cycle or not. They have this range of times so that you can get back in sync with everybody else in your group and make ascension at the same time as everybody else.
Okay, but if you're lucky, maybe, I hate to say that, it's probably a bad word to use, but fifth density is one cycle, sixth density could be one cycle or a little bit longer, 1.5, something like that.
To get back in sync with everybody else. Uh-huh.
Fifth density is realm 3 out of 7 realms. Sixth is realm 4 out of 7 realms. Is sixth density considered way better than fifth?
I think so. You get a better, more powerful body. You're in fifth, sixth, and seventh density are separate. You're in the third, fourth, or fifth realm, and you can't get out of that realm. You got to stay in that realm. You can go anywhere in the universe as long as you stay in that realm. If it's safe to go, but and you can see people in the lower realms. In some cases, you might need technology, but I'm not sure. And you can slightly affect these lower realms, but not much. You can mostly just see them, and you can't communicate. You can communicate by telepathy, I guess. To fifth density can communicate by telepathy to the higher realms, or the higher realms can communicate to fifth density by telepathy. The people above you can read everything on your soul and read your mind and all that stuff, and you can't block them out. But you can only read the people above you if they allow it.
So if you're in humanity and you're watching this video, you can get extremely excited if you're qualified about going to fifth density. It's literally like a heaven compared to Earth.
Right. Yeah. It's right. It's fantastic. It's supposed to be fantastic, and everything's 100 times better. The thing that you lose, though, is the excitement, the highs and the lows and the up and down, and you don't get it. There's no more athletic bodies and doing athlete type things. They don't have skiing or bowling or football or basketball. Those nobody. Your bodies don't work good for those things, and nobody's interested in it.
Right. Okay. So people have so much to look forward to on Earth, right? This idea that, they've worked their butts off. They've completed an entire cycle, a great year. If they're qualified and they've learned their lessons, they're going to fifth density and have an incredible new existence in fifth density where they're going to be for another cycle, which is a whole lot of years. In our time today, it's a full cycle. Then they graduate eventually after a cycle, learning new lessons in fifth density, and they go to sixth density. Anything more you'd like to say about sixth density and maybe compare sixth to fifth? Anything you want to say about sixth density?
Well, I don't know a lot, but each density you get a better body. And supposedly it's a little bigger, a little more powerful, works a little better. You can maybe think faster, teleport a little better. maybe read minds. Your soul gets more powerful each level. In fifth density, your soul splits three ways, and there's three. When you're in fifth density, your soul splits three ways, and you're three different people. And when you get to sixth density, your soul splits four different ways, and you're four people. And on up. And ninth density, you're seven people.
Wow, that's bizarre. So
Well,
fifth and sixth
on
density.
Earth, a fifth density wanderer on Earth is in two bodies, and 1/3's on the soul plane. And a wanderer from sixth density is in three bodies, and 1/4's on the soul plane.
Is there anything more you'd want to say about wanderers? We've done a video about wanderers. Wanderers come out of the fifth and the sixth. It's very rare coming out of the fifth. It's way more common for wanderers to come out of the sixth, and the vast majority come out of sixth. What can you say about wanderers? Wanderers are essentially given an opportunity by God or spirit or the higher densities to go back to third density to help younger souls. How big of an opportunity is that? What does that really mean to that soul? Is it truly an honor to be offered the opportunity of being a wanderer?
Yeah, it's a tremendous honor that you qualify to be a wanderer. That you really want to help the lesser people. And you're also maybe going back for the excitement part. You know, it's third density is an exciting place where all sorts of shit's happening. And you might want to get in on that. Some people like that. Maybe most people don't, but some of the wanderers are here because the excitement. And they know that you get an above average life when you're here. You don't have to take the crap life where everything goes wrong because you got a lot of bad karma. Wanderers won't be going through that. You know, they'll get the good life that has, you know, proper food and money and all the things that are available, where the other people around you won't, all of them won't have that, you know, but a wanderer usually will.
Interesting you say excitement, because that encompasses almost everything, right? It's like going back to the ups and downs. It's almost like, you know, you've got love and war, you've got good and evil, a battle taking place between good and evil in third density. And, you know, you get the highs and the lows of good and evil and all that's in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like if you're like 70 or 80 years old and you don't do much and walk around your house a little bit and meet younger people and talk on the phone. And you see this world of these people that are in their 20s playing football and basketball and stuff. It's almost like Wanderer is almost like going back to that, you know, where the higher densities, you're like an old person and there's not a lot of excitement or not a lot going on, and you could get a chance to go back into the excitement. Probably some Wanderers is that way.
So I know we're getting close to where we want to try to wrap up, but I have a question for you. Before we wrap up, I don't know if you have access right now to see your website. Are there any key points of 7th, 8th, and 9th densities that you might want to cover in this video? Is there a few high points, key features you'd want to mention in 7th, 8th, and 9th density?
Well, 7th density lasts for 2 cycles. And you have to be positive to go to 8th density. And then when you go to 8th density, there's another component of time that's added to the mix. I don't know, you know, from 4th density, there's another component. And then 8th density, there's a third component. I don't know what they are, how they affect things, but it's going to make things different. And you get a way better body in 8th and 9th than you do in the lower ones. And then 8th density lasts for 6 cycles, and 9th density lasts, 6 cycles, and 9th density lasts for 18 cycles.
My gosh, it's so long. All right. So what I wanted to clarify is something you said, but I want to make this point. Let's drive this point home. You said that if you're negative, God allows your soul to ascend through ascension up through 7th density. If you're negative, whether you have empathy or not, you can be very negative and still make ascension.
Yes.
Up through 7th. But during 7th density, God, source, spirit, creator, whatever you want to call him, God requires that all negatives turn positive in 7th density.
Yeah. In order to move on, in order to keep going, you have to turn negative. I mean, you have to turn positive.
All right. So if you're negative,
and you got up to 8 cycles to do it.
So if you're negative, you can get to 7th density. You can be evil and corrupt and the worst of the worst. You can get all the way to 7th density, but in 7th density, if you've gotten there by being horribly evil, God requires that you turn positive in 7th density, and he wants you to do it in 2 cycles, hopefully. But if you don't, you're given up to 8 cycles to try to turn positive.
That's right. Or you're back into the ether. Almost everybody makes it. I think like 1% or something gets recycled into the ether. Their soul is so stuck on being negative that they say, just recycle me. I don't want to change.
So then finally, the way this ends out of 7th is that everyone who ascends to 8th density and beyond, everyone is polarized positive.
Right. But after you get to 8th, you can turn back negative. And you can in 9th too. And some people do. But not hardly any, but sometimes they do. You got to turn positive to get to 8th, but after you get in 8th, you can go negative. And then you got to turn positive to go to 9th. And after you get in 9th, you could go negative.
So bizarre.
Right. And then after 9th density, they combine like 3,000 souls together to make one person to go above that. All right, you want to wrap it up here? We're at 43 minutes.
I think you and I both want to send a lot of love and light out to everyone who finds their way to watch this video. You know, we appreciate anybody who takes the time to watch these videos. And I should add that if anybody has any comments for you or I, or if they have any questions for you or I, right? There's probably 2 ways they could comment or ask questions, right? They can do it at below the video, correct?
Right. Or they can go on my website and email or call me.
Or they can go on your website, icheckyoursoul.com, and you can email Gary with any questions or comments about any of these videos or about anything.
There's a phone number as well, and we're on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
All right. Thanks for watching.